Yo, what's up guys? Paps here back with another video, and you're probably clicking on this because you want to improve your arrow left or right, just directional arrow in general, and you clicked on the right video. I've made a lot of videos on directional arrow. You should go ahead and check them out on my channel. I have a whole playlist. But with that being said, we are revisiting a topic that I talked about 4 months ago. I'm a bit further along in my air roll training. I'm a lot better than I was before. I don't think my last video was bad, but as I just mentioned, now that I'm a lot better, I believe I can elaborate and explain some things a bit better than I did before. So I think it's time to revisit the topic and talk about things in a way that I didn't. Now that I have a lot of questions to answer, a lot more experience, and just like I mentioned, in general, better with directional air roll. It's time to talk about it again. And this video is going to be geared more for beginners, people that are starting directional air roll. So if you are a bit more advanced, this video probably won't help you that much. I'm going to continue to go over topics that I talked about in the past, revisit them to try to explain better. So stay tuned. I'll be talking about more intermediate and advanced topics in the future. But for now, beginners, this one's for you. So let's go ahead and get into it and talk about how to train and how to improve your directional air roll from the get-go. And I think it's important to talk about the fundamentals. With air roll left or right, it's important to note that you do not need to move your left stick like you do with regular air roll. So as you can see with air roll, I have to move my left stick to actually roll my car. But with directional air roll, as you can see, I don't have to move my left stick. My car just air rolls in the direction that I have it bound to. So I have air roll left, so my car goes left. With that being said, it opens up a whole new skill ceiling, because not only can you now roll your car without moving your left stick, you can use your left stick to manipulate your car in a way you can't with air roll. So as you can see here, I can move around my car on different axes, whereas with air roll I can kind of only move around on one axis, spin in whatever direction that I want, but I can't spin my car while I'm air rolling, if that makes sense. And that opens up mechanics like tornado spinning, reverse tornado spinning, cucks twisting, but I believe you can cucks twist with air roll as well, kind of. But yeah, it just kind of allows for a higher skill ceiling. So in my opinion, I think it's better to learn air roll and directional air roll to allow yourself to control your car in the best possible way. With that being said, let's talk about something that I talked about in the first video that I would like to talk about again and maybe explain a bit better, because it is important for beginners. So when you want to control your car with directional air roll, again, left or right doesn't matter, they're both the same thing, just different directions. I have left. There's two basic movements that you want to learn from the get-go, and that is tornado spinning, which as you can see here, a tornado spin is steering in one direction and air rolling in the other. So for me, it's air rolling left, steering right, and reverse tornado spinning, which is the opposite, air rolling left and steering left. And as you can see, the two movements mirror each other. They're two opposite movements, and to learn how to control your car in the air, you're going to need to master combining these two movements to keep your car pointed up. That's a very important tip that I was told when I was learning, and it definitely helped something click in my brain. So again, I'll show you. Notice how tornado spin, my car is tilted, and reverse tornado spin, kind of the same way, tilted out to a direction. But when you combine those two movements, notice how my car is staying pointed up, and I'm able to keep myself in the air very easily just by combining a reverse tornado spin and a regular tornado spin. And this is a very basic movement you need to master in order to fully control your car in the air with a directional air roll. In general, you definitely want to remember that when you're using directional air roll, you want to be moving your left stick a lot. That's why it makes it a bit harder to control, but more worth it in the end, because it requires constant left stick movement. Movement. You can't just, have my stick pointed in one direction. Like, I can't be tornado spinning the whole time. I can't be reverse tornado spinning the whole time. You need to have a combination of the two. And once you get better, you can move your stick down and up and every direction to get full control of your car. But again, this is for beginners, and I believe you want to start off by learning what I mentioned, reverse and regular tornado spin. And I would not move on in learning directional air roll until you are able to fully control your car in the air with these two movements. And like I said, watch where your nose is pointed. Watch where your boost is going, if that helps too. You want to make sure that your boost is going in the direction you want your car to go. And I'm not going to talk about this until next video, but that includes when you want to go left, when you want to go right. Just basically, it's going to control your direction and where you want your car to go. But again, that'll be more for intermediate. I wouldn't worry about that if you're a beginner. I would simply worry about controlling your car and keeping it as steady and in your control as possible. And we're going to talk about some drills to go over that, how to train and get better at that right now. So once you are able to reverse and regular tornado spin and you can kind of control your car, here's how you're going to improve it. You want to keep yourself in the air using those two basic movements the best you can. And to make this drill harder, you want to be messing yourself up and turning your car around and making it as hard for yourself as you can. It's going to help with blackout moments. It's going to help with overall car control. And it's going to help with getting better with your directional air roll, obviously. I would say work on this until you can pretty much control your car in any way you want. Not really good to move on until you have all the basics down, obviously. And once you can do this, which might take a while, again, this takes a lot of work to get good with, so don't get discouraged. Once you can do this, I would suggest doing a second drill, and this is going from each of these backboards and just controlling your car in the air, focusing on landing on the other wall on your wheels, and just going back and forth. You can use air roll to correct yourself so that you can land on all four wheels on the other wall. I do that sometimes when I'm in game and trying to control my car for minor adjustments. But since you're learning directional air roll here, I would suggest only using the directional air roll. Work on your timing, because that's really important with directional air roll, obviously. Working on your timing and landing and getting your car in position or in the position that you want it to be at a certain moment. And like I said, super basic. All you want to do is just go back and forth, control your car, land on your wheels. If you want to make it harder for yourself, you can maybe bounce off the wall. That's not something I do or I'm good at, but maybe bounce off the wall, try to control yourself, keep yourself in the air. I'm really good at it. But yeah, that's, I guess, a way to make it harder. But very basic. Do what I said, land on your wheels, go wall to wall. And once you're able to do both of those drills pretty much to perfection, again, you don't need to have the same level of control I have. It took a while to get to my level of control, months. But once you're able to do it to the point where you feel like, hey, I'm really good at this, I have no issue doing it, very few blackout moments, yada yada yada, I would then suggest moving on to do more intermediate training. But if you cannot do the basics, if you cannot master those two things, I would suggest doing them until you can. I think something people do when they're trying to learn something new in Rocket League is they try to take 3 steps forward and skip all the stuff that is going to lead them to that 3rd step. So they'll learn things a lot slower or a lot harder than it has to be. Whereas if you take things one at a time, do the basics, intermediate, then the expert stuff, it's going to be a lot easier for you in the long run. And like I said, we will talk about that in future videos. I'll give more drills. I'll talk about how to dismount off the walls, how to get to the ceiling faster or easier with directional air roll. I'll talk about basic mechanics like air dribbles very, very briefly because I already have a video on that. Maybe half flips with directional air roll, but that's all stuff that I've talked about or has been talked about before. But yeah, we will go over more advanced stuff is what I'm trying to say. And we'll talk about it in one whole video, and I'll separate it by beginning, intermediate, expert, yada yada yada. Anyways, I hope this video helped. I hope I explained it better. I think I did. I went over some things that people asked about and tried to elaborate on things to make it as easy as possible for you guys to understand. If I didn't, if you want me to explain something better, please let me know. I have no problem making more videos on these topics. As long as you guys want it, I'll make it, honestly. I love making videos to help people. Anyways, if you enjoyed, drop a like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the future with more Rocket League content. Peace.